Oh my life, I'm back. And today's video is a quick, well, as quick as I can ever be, a quick look back at 2024 before we properly get stuck into 2025. I thought I'd kick off with some interesting stats, courtesy of YouTube, just to let you know that throughout the last 12 months, we've shared more than 250 YouTube videos and over 115 live feeds with you. We've had over 1 million views, and between you, you've watched nearly 80,000 hours of footage. We've gained over 2,000 new subscribers, so thank you and welcome to each and every one of you. 62% of you that watch the videos have subscribed to our channel. If you haven't done it yet, it costs you nothing at all but helps us hugely, so please, if you can, do just tap that button below the screen. By watching the adverts, this has brought in an incredible £3,500 from advertisers alone. Like most years, it's been an unforgettable one for many, many different reasons, and it's been full of highs and lows. So I thought the best way was to give you a little bit of a snapshot of how things unfolded month by month. It won't be everything, or we would really be here forever. And I don't want anybody to be offended if I miss you or anything out. It's certainly not intentional. So January kicked off and we were in the middle of our winter fundraiser, which we managed to exceed our target, thanks in no small part to our generous, now legendary infamous anonymous donor, who continues to help us. They pushed me right out of my comfort zone for all the right reasons, and it was a great way to kickstart the year. It was, however, this month that our beloved teddy bear first showed signs of the problems that were to lead to his devastating departure. So he stayed up at the yard with Mabel, who was recovering from a fractured pedal bone, and of course the rainbow boy himself, Nero, who needed to rest due to the issues with his hock. What lay ahead was an exceptionally wet winter, which only highlighted the growing need for better facilities here. Lindsay Furness, who was soon to become one of our incredible guardian angels, helped to extend the Wi-Fi all around the farm so that we could send more live streams to you. This was a huge step forward for us. And then there was that hugely generous contribution from another of our guardian angels, Tara Cohn, which has allowed us to start planning for the longer term improvements for the horses here at the farm. February brought forward the rejection of 3 grant applications that Tamara had worked so hard on. And this was the straw that broke the camel's back. Having been so badly let down by the establishment over many decades, we decided to stop pinning our hopes on their empty promises and appeal to a community of like-minded people who could see what it is that we're trying to achieve and help us find a way forward. On the horse front, Mabel was cleared for light exercise, her fractured pedal bone had healed well, and Nero underwent hock surgery over at Rainbow Equine. It was over there that Bear's diagnosis worsened, and following further tests, he came back home to the yard to basically live as best he could with the problems that he faced. He charmed everyone with his cuddly personality and insistence on inspecting every single vehicle and its occupants that came through the yard each day. Our horsebox dramas started this month as well with its first breakdown, making the start of the year very costly for repairs. In March, Nero officially became a permanent resident and his ceremonial beard trim streamed live on the channel, and Sandy, our wonderful photographer, captured this special day with some beautiful images of him too. He, as you can imagine, got bored of his recovery routine and his cheekiness continued. We had broken gates, benches, phones, to name but a few things. But his rock climbing antics in particular highlighted just what an active little mind he has. We gave the free reiners more freedom around the yard and kicked off with our first Insight Day, where we were able to show some of our visitors the groundwork that we do with the horses to help them all with their individual needs. April was a major turning point for us. It was April when we launched the 110k fundraiser. It was a tall order, but as you know, thanks to your incredible generosity, we not only hit target, but we exceeded target. Another of our guardian angels, Jamie Richardson, helped with securing the entrance to the yard, and we installed what we now call Jamie's Wall to help keep all those free reigners in where they're supposed to be. We also had our first long-term planning meeting with architect Richard McGonigal and planning advisor Jill Shriver, who's to look at how we can transform the farm in the future for the long-term survival of the sanctuary. May brought even more milestones. It was Tamara's turn to step out of her comfort zone, and she posted her very first video on YouTube, sharing the farm's history, which I know that you all loved, and I know there is more to follow, I promise. It was also the month when one of our amazing volunteers, Anne Heighton, ran 10k around Derwentwater and raised nearly £5,000 for the sanctuary. Hida had more sarcoid treatment, which was successful, and we held our very first open day of the year, which unfortunately took an unexpected turn when poor little Iceman fell ill with colic. But thanks to your support, he's now on lifelong supplements to help prevent further issues with the gastric ulcers he was found to be suffering with. Our neighbour and talented builder Michael completed the roof on one of our derelict buildings that was to become fondly known as Bessie's Barn in honour of Lindsay's gorgeous German Shepherd who visited us later in the year. Now that brings us on to June and July. These months were some of the most challenging of the year, centred primarily around Bear and the heartbreaking decision of whether to proceed with life-saving surgery. The support of all the members of Team Teddy gave me the clarity to make some really difficult choices. And I have to give a particular thanks to Karen Vinton Hughes, another of our guardian angels, who went above and beyond to help us cover his veterinary costs, despite going through a very difficult time herself with her own horse Poppy. While Bear's passing on the 110th anniversary of Greenbank Farm felt profoundly unfair, it did secure his place in the history of both the farm and the sanctuary. Amidst all of this, everything back at the farm needed to continue. We began the boys' turnout area down the bottom here, the Hoytzer and Jubber's garden. We installed a new water supply and stayed focused on caring for the rest of the horses. Thanks to experts like Rachel Hamer, Jenny Parker and Melanie Turner, we continued to learn more about how we could support each of the horses' physical needs in a return to the sanctuary during this time. And while we'd hoped to find her a foster home, it became clear that she was best suited to staying with us long term. Our Wednesday night live hacks continued wherever possible with the legendary Golden Girl Renska, and we had a fantastic haylage harvest that will carry us through for the rest of the year. That brings us on to August, and following Bear's loss and having to deal with a number of other challenges on the farm, hosting another open day felt quite overwhelming, and even at the 11th hour I nearly cancelled. We did go ahead, and it turned out to be a beautiful day of connection with the horses for everyone who visited that day, and ended with an emotional tribute to Bear in the memorial orchard. Thanks to our dear friend Jane Holden, who came up to support the rest of the team, Bailey and I managed a much needed mini break away. When we returned, we had another one of our special beach walking days with Hida, Ren and Micah, giving our visitors some wonderful memories. August did bring another unexpected change with Holly's sudden decision to leave. Her sister Frey has stepped up beautifully. She continues to be a valuable part of our team, along with Jodie and her own fabulous four-legged assistants, Jim, Nell and their two babies, Moss and Ted. September was busy but rewarding. Iceman had further investigations for his ulcers, and Frey took Old Man Uber, or Weirdo as she calls him, for a very first groundwork session with our trainer Mel. The farmhouse received a much needed facelift thanks to the Friends of Greenbank Farm, and the Polaris campaign was launched and achieved, all thanks to all of you and the hugely generous contributions from Jamie and our other wonderful donor who prefers to remain anonymous. Another highlight of the month was taking Hoytzer and Jubbers to the beach. Hoitzer was like a youngster again, bouncing through the sands whilst Jubbers ran along behind him, not wanting to miss out on any of the fun. It really did give him a new lease of life. Sadly, we had to say goodbye to Connie, our matriarch sheep, which was heartbreaking, having lost Astra and Damson already. Connie was a fantastic age for a sheep, and last winter was a real struggle for her. So in a way, I was relieved that she went to sleep peacefully in the field before the weather turned again. The end of this month saw us helping 2 more Frisians in need of finding safe haven. Pele and Harry became lifetime members of the sanctuary and are now living a happy life in the south of England with their foster mum, also called Tracy. On to October, and with winter on the horizon, we were very grateful to have Lisa return to help around the yard, and with what's become known as Lisa's laundry. There's always an awful lot of laundry to do. Her husband Vince joined her to do a couple of weeks' work, finishing the boys' turnout area. We had Jenny, our physio, back, and Nero impressed her with how his muscle had developed since she initially saw him earlier in the year. Despite his lameness, to see the progress was really encouraging. We moved into the farmhouse just in time for Bailey's 13th birthday, and with no house bookings coming in, we were able to stay in there for Christmas, which was a real treat. Halloween was another highlight of the month, with the horses stealing the show during a fun trip down to Cartmel, with Jodie on Iceman and myself on Doubtson, dressed as headless horsewomen with the horses painted as skeletons. November marked a year since Nero's arrival, and we celebrated with his very first groundwork session with our trainer. We kept Sam, our vet, busy, again with Nero's x-rays, Doutson's gastric issues and Hunnis's ongoing treatment. Our fabulous Polaris Ranger arrived and quickly became an essential part of daily life. We've named him Arthur, thanks to one of our volunteers, Susan, as this can be linked to the stars, of which Bear has his very own, and Arthur's Wain is a chariot up in the skies, so it's a fitting tribute to Bear's legacy. December was an exciting month all round. We transformed Bessie's barn into a spa space with a solarium and a hot horse shower, perfect for the horses during the winter months. Michael continued to work on the Hoitzer and Jubbers house, which is really coming on well. Jodie also had some fantastic news. Having spent years building up her farm business, she and her partner Phil were offered the tenancy on one of the National Trust's beautiful Lake District farms nearby. This gives them the stability they so desperately need and they so thoroughly deserve, and a chance to build further on their own dreams. Don't worry, she's not leaving and will always be a part of the sanctuary, as she has been since she was just 17 years old. The most exciting news came just before Christmas, when we reached our 110k target. Christmas itself was magical, with the whole family together in the farmhouse for the very first time in nearly 20 years. Creating those memories, especially with Mum's Alzheimer's, was absolutely priceless. Looking ahead to 2025, there's so many exciting projects, urgent and not so urgent, that we hope to take on. I'll be sharing more details of those with you very soon. But one of my key goals this year is to myself focus more deeply on the individual needs of each horse by bringing in the right support and doing a lot more with them myself. This will allow me to provide the very best care possible, whilst sharing even more of their individual stories and lives with all of you. So thank you for joining me in a reflection on 2024. There is an awful lot I've missed out, but it was a year of challenges and many triumphs too, and many unforgettable moments. So here's to 2025 and all the adventures that it may hold for us all.
I wake up in the morning with a smile on my face, feeling thankful for the love and the happiness we chase. Sun is shining brightly, sky so blue and clear. With every breath I take, I'm grateful you are near. So grateful, yeah. Thank you for the laughter, thank you for the tears, thank you for the moments